Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
I'm on the road, I guess.
Yeah.
Road.
What are you in,
I'm in
like Jersey?
Yeah.
Ah! That's hilarious. Okay. So how's Jersey?
Yes, Jersey. It's just so funny because like I'm at the Borgata, which I do this gig. It's like a week-long gig. I do it like twice a year. It's like bombing for good pay.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when I first did it, it was like stressful. This was like years ago. It was stressful because like it's booked by Gotham, so you have to like in my mind I'm like I have to dress nicer, it's in a casino, you have to be cleaner, like there's all these like kind of rules and stipulations, and then you go and you're like, oh, I like with like the first night, this was like years ago, the first night I'm like my makeup's on, I look nice, I'm like stressed about my set, and then there's like 17 people that don't actually want to be there. There's like 17 old people that are like confused of why they're there, and you bomb and you're like, oh, that didn't feel good. And then the next night, it's the same thing and you bomb and you're like, okay, I'm just not going to wear makeup. And the next thing you know, you're like wearing ripped jeans and you're not showering. And it's just like, I feel like a coal miner.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
where I'm just like, why would I shower for this? It's just not, it's money. It's legit money. And so I always bring my brother and we do some gambling. We're not gambling people. We basically spend $5 and get really excited if we make any money. My
Spend it
favorite
all on
is
like
that like,
chocolate and shit.
well, what we do is like we'll put 5 or 10 bucks in and we'll just like gamble until it's out. But like if we make any money, and we're doing like penny slots and like nickel slots, but like if we put in a penny and we make $1, we go nuts. We're like, wow, we're so smart. And people will think we hit a jackpot and they get really excited and they come over and then they see we only made $1 and they look at us like we're crazy. But like we're not gamblers. Like we don't like this is stupid. So it's become a tradition that like, I do the Borgata, I bomb for a week. My brother's there. He goes, that joke's pretty good. It's sad they didn't laugh. And I go, I agree. And then we hang out.
Um, well, I mean, I guess that sounds fun. I don't know what your brother gets out of it, having to hang out with you. And no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It sounds fun to
Yeah,
gamble and just chill
yeah, and
out
we'll
and
go.
like use it as a fun getaway.
Yeah, we'll go to the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Like we're gonna do that later today. And then I visited like my aunt. Like I'm gonna see, like I saw an aunt yesterday. I'm gonna see another aunt tomorrow. I'm going to the dentist. I do a lot of Jersey stuff since I used to live here and my parents used to live here, but we don't like none of us have updated. Like my mom told me she drove back to go to the dentist here last week.
I
It's
feel
just
like your
like,
girlfriend because like I'm actually kind of annoyed with you right now. I got my hair cut. Okay. And it's a big no, don't you dare. It is a big deal cut. It is short. When you got your hair cut, oh, we spent the first 10 minutes of like the next 7 episodes talking about your hair and the shit that goes in it. And we get on, my hair's cut, and you're talking about the dentist in Jersey. Fuck that. And fuck this.
I'm out. Fuck it out. No, these are valid points. I would like to say that I did friendship due diligence, both pre-podcast and when you got your haircut. But these are valid public points about not celebrating you in a
You
recorded
haven't seen
form.
it dry. You haven't seen it dry in
I asked
real
for a
life or
fucking
podcast life.
picture,
You
and
did
that's on,
ask, but I didn't send.
yeah,
So
that's on
when I
you.
presented,
I gave
and then you were like, "Cool, let's
it,
start," and I was like, "No, don't you
I
dare."
you made me sound like a monster. That is
Think about
not
it
what
for a
I
while,
did.
because
I
did
did.
I exaggerate? Did I?
I said I liked it. I said it looked nice. I feel like a boyfriend right now.
I
I feel
know.
like a
That's what I
boyfriend.
said. I said I feel like your girlfriend because I'm like, you didn't even notice I cut my hair.
It does look good. I do like it. Have you ever, because it has like this like swooshiness. First of all, two tiny curly haired bobs happening right now, which I love.
I would like to point out that
Is
I
this the
go,
shortest it's ever been?
no, no, it's been very short. I go short all the time. Like you took my cut. I just want to point that out too.
That's a valid point as well.
All right. Well, it's no fun fighting with you because you're just agreeable.
Just welcome to emotional intelligence. You did this to me. I did do this to you. You hurt my feelings. I validate your feelings.
I did
and
do
you're like,
that. I know. I'm sorry. Fuck. Fine. Can I just
I
throw
guess
water
we're
in your face
friends.
and just be done with it? I've performed in Vegas a couple times. I went with Helen Hong. We were on like the outskirts of like the real Vegas or the fun Vegas. We were in the old people Vegas. Man, old people don't like to laugh, but they sure do like to come out. I don't get that. Like they'll come.
Well, it made me kind of realize something about casinos because like I was like, this isn't fun for like we walk through the casino to get to the theater, and every time I'm just like, none of this seems appealing to me. And some of it's because I don't play video games. And I think it's so funny that old people are like these kids playing video games, and then you look at casinos and you're like, yeah, nobody's ever lost their house playing Zelda. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just so funny that they're just like judging young people, and you're like, how is casinos any different? Just more expensive of a game. I went to see my great aunt and my great uncle. My great aunt just got this like cyber surgery because she has benign tumor, and they basically were able to do this like laser. So like literally no, like they didn't have to cut her open. They didn't have to do anything. It was like the cyber. She called it cyber knife, and it like basically helps the tumor not grow because it's like right now it's not affecting anything, and if it doesn't grow, then it's fine. So she had these 3 treatments of cyber knifing, and she was explaining to me. And she's in her 80s. And then I saw my uncle who has bone marrow cancer, and that is, you know, there's no real treatment. Like they're giving him stuff so that hopefully he can be comfortable and live a bit longer, but there's no cure for it. So I'm visiting my 2 very old aunts and uncles, and they were talking about mobility problems and stuff like that. And all of a sudden it clicked to me. I was like, this would be for them. Like you don't have to move very far. You're sitting most of the time. You still get to have a good time. All your food and entertainment is within, you know, a couple of feet. It like just kind of dawned on me after I visited them this week that like I understand why this is like an older person's form of entertainment, because it's like Disney World condensed into a building.
Oh man, that's even more pressure. Like I'd feel bad if I'm like, these people are spending their last dying breaths listening to me
I
tell
did
dumb
do it
jokes.
like when I did it, I think it was 2019 was the last time I did it. So when I did it in like the winter of 2019, in the middle of my set, somebody in a motorized wheelchair just hear dee 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 backing up and then leaving in the middle of my set. Like it was like a new level of walking the audience. I was like, oh, okay. Because even on the first night, a couple left. And it was funny because the host was talking about going through a breakup during COVID. And then I started talking about going through a breakup during COVID. And then this couple left in the middle of my set. And I was like, oh, I'm happy to hear that you guys are still together. It must be nice. Like, I was like, is this too sad for you guys? Like our comedy too sad? Yeah, it's an experience. Like that's where like a part of me is grateful to have so many shitty gigs that when I do have a good gig, I'm so appreciative. And this is like middle of the road, like because I've been able to accept this and because it pays well, I'm just like, whatever. But there's so many funny experiences from this repetitive gig that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, but it changes it when you go just like take the money and run. You know, a lot of
Oh
like
yeah.
corporate Zooms are like that. You're just like, this is gonna suck so hard, but just take the money and run. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, it's 20 minutes a night. I'm in a hotel. It's fine. I have my car. I can leave. I know the other comics. They're friends of mine. Like my brother's here. Like it's just so funny that like I think older me would have been like, I'm better than this. I don't need this. And now I'm just like, this is fine. It's fine. We got snacks. We went to Target and got snacks, and I feel
It's weird
pretty
because it's
content.
exactly what the audience is thinking.
This is fine. It's
We're
fine.
fine. We got
It's not what I
snacks.
wanted. Definitely not what I wanted. But yeah, it's all good. Oh, I got chased by some geese yesterday.
Okay. Where are you
So
holding bread?
no, but and it's I've always known geese are mean, and my brother even warned me. but there's this path between all the casinos in Atlantic City, and that's it's like almost a deserted path because everybody's like indoors. And he was like, "You want to go for a walk?" And I was like, "We are truly not the right people to be at this casino." He's like, "You want to get fresh air?" So we're walking down this path towards other casinos, and there's geese and all the little geeselings, all the little babies. And so I wanted to get a picture, and I felt like I was keeping my distance, but not enough because, like, there it's like a goose, then the little babies, and then another goose, and they both were like, and they just started chasing us. And I wish I was recording because I was like, ah! It's just me and my brother. And then my brother got me so good, so we chased. I looked behind us, we had lost them, so we start walking a little bit, and my brother turns around, he's like, "They're still coming," and I was like, ah!
In other news, cat book author and non-doctor comedian Liz Mealy gets chased down by a geese in Atlantic City over the weekend. Warning, the footage we're about to show you is graphic, and then it's just your brother like strangling geese.
Snapping their necks. Not my sister.
Swans will kill you.
Dude.
Like swans will like bring you down and drown you.
I wrote a book. I was probably like, 7 or 8, like, when you like write books in class, or about my sister and my mom being chased by swans when I was a kid. And like, I guess the equivalent of somebody holding a phone and recording like, you know what I mean? Like a fight. I feel like that's what I did with my mom and my sister being chased, because I wrote this book, and at no point in the book am I like, I tried to help. I was just like, sucks to be you guys. But it did it. It nipped my mom in the butt, and it might have bit my sister too. But they were unhappy.
Did you say that because of the saying "nip it in the butt"? No, it's "nip it in the bud." But yeah, did you say that because of that?
No, it's legit what happens. Like they got their butt. They're at butt height, and then their little beaks were like fucking.
Oh man.
Yeah, a lot of
dangers of birds.
A lot of bird violence that nobody talks about. Should we get into announcements?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for all our Patreons, our patrons, everybody that supports us. We're so grateful. If you do not know, you can get early access to videos for as little as $3. You can get weekly bonuses for as little as $5 a month. We have monthly bonuses. We have stickers. We have, you could be a Google guest. You can get our albums and footage of our stand-up. There's tons of bonuses. You just have to go to patreon.com/2nondoctors.
The $5 one gets a video. You get weekly videos of us getting to know each other and falling in love and fighting a lot. I think we fight quite a bit too.
Yeah. I can't wait to get married at the end of this.
So is it just, I know. Is it
that
just
our
me?
Season finale?
Do I always have goes at you? You fight with me too, don't you? So it's fair, isn't it?
Sure, if you want to make it sound sided. It's usually me getting yelled at. I know my place. Also, are we
I'm sorry
a
about
lesbian couple as we make the same haircut choices? Is this
you stole my haircut and then pretended I copied you, and that's going to piss me off the more you do it.
I did acknowledge. I would like to say this. I did acknowledge one of the reasons I was hesitant about cutting my hair short was because your hair is short and my older sister's hair is short, and I look like both of you.
Which is fine. And you did it anyway, and that's fine. What's wrong is that you keep bringing it up like I did it to you.
That's not what I said. I would like everybody that records this podcast.
I love that you're looking around for help. What?
I am. I'm like looking for our listeners. We're in the middle of announcements having a fight. I think we've done this podcast too long already.
So sorry.
Do your goddamn job.
Follow us on the socials, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube's at 2nondoctors, number 2, full word doctors. On Instagram, it's at number 2. Follow us at 2nondrs, number 2. And if you have time, leave us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts because it helps us out a lot, helps us get seen, and then we feel great. And we share it on our Instagrams, and we pat ourselves on the back and everything. But thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone who left reviews so far. We appreciate them.
Yeah. And then personal stuff. Some people tweeted out a woman did like a book review, and then another like famous CNN person tweeted out my book, and my book shot up to number 4 on the cat dog animal list of Amazon. So if you like my book, buy it.
Should be number one. Who's at number one?
I don't remember. It's
Probably
always
some
about a
hack.
goat or something.
It's always about a goat.
It's like cats are just not respected the way they used to be. But yeah, so buy my book. I haven't been able to sell it at shows because I ran out of stock. So if people want it signed, you buy it on the interwebs and then bring it to a show and I will sign it. But if
Can
you
you still
don't
get it
know,
on our Patreon?
oh yeah, if you become a Patreon, you can also get it. Okay, July 9th and 10th, as you know, me and Maria are at the Arlington Draft House in Arlington, Virginia. July 16th, I just added Long Island. I'm at the brokerage. Then July 31st, Cleveland. I had to cancel Detroit. Why are you laughing?
I just pictured us both like there's a screen and just us both running past the screen and then just a bunch of geese going like quack 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 chasing after us. That's our whole weekend in Arlington.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's gonna happen. Is this gnarly bruise?
What happened?
I was trying to get the subway, and I ran into I ran into something on the way to the subway, and then the doors hit it even harder. It's a subway catastrophe.
Damn.
Yeah, we
The
can't finish
doors
now.
did that to your arm?
It wasn't the doors. I ran into like when you're going down the steps and there's like a railing. I ran into the railing trying to get onto the train. So I first hit the railing
Oh
and
god.
then didn't even
It's like
acknowledge it.
Mario Kart out there, just bumping into
Truly,
shit and
this
trying
is
to
my driving.
skid into the subway.
Yeah, like physical bumper cars. And so then I ran train. Somebody held the door, but they kind of still closed on me, and it closed even harder on my arm. And I was like, ah. And then I just didn't even notice it until recently. More announcements though. We can't finish anything today.
No.
I had to cancel Detroit. There were some issues with the venue, so I'll reschedule that later. But then Oklahoma City, Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, and St. Louis.
Fantastic. I mean, I'll be all over the UK, y'all. I feel like 4 people from the UK listen to this, but if you are in the UK, check out mariashahada.com.
Yeah, I think you should be more detailed, but that's fine. Would you like to get into fan mail?
Yeah.
Okay. Our fan mail. This was like a TikTok comment. We sometimes put our little clippy clips on TikTok. We got so many comments about the HPV clip that we put up during the
Really?
the Vax episode. It just makes me laugh because everybody had a different perspective. Like some people were giving us knowledge about the fact that why the HPV Vax is for only for people under 27, and then this one was just about because we made a funny comment in that clip that you're like, oh, is the reason that you can't get it after 27 is you should be married by then? And then I said, I
Which
don't
was an
think.
obvious joke, and I hope people knew that.
Oh yeah, no, that's not the problem
Yeah.
with it. If anything, they're critiquing me, which is I was like, I don't think medicine shames you like that. And then
Oh.
Jasoninspace on TikTok was like, oh, they do. And it was kind of interesting. After he wrote this, I was like, oh yeah, they totally do, like all the time. But this is what Jason wrote. He wrote, and science does shame you. A woman I worked with needed an ovary removed. She had some condition and it was painful for her, and she couldn't get a doctor to do it until she turned 30 because they kept saying she might change her mind and want a baby. Basically, you're a woman, let the men do the healthcare. You don't know what you want, so you can suffer. And as soon as he wrote that, I was like, oh yeah, there's so many examples of how healthcare shames everyone and shames people and really just doesn't listen. Like we're learning more and more about, like we're hearing more and more about Black people in general, but Black women that will go and talk about the pain they have, and they just dismiss their pain and often have real medical problems and real issues overlooked because they not only dismiss their pain, but often don't even treat it, so that they have to suffer longer than most people, while they might give like a white person, some kind of painkiller, and they won't do that for Black people. On top of the fact that pain is an indicator that there's a problem, they'll dismiss it, and then this problem goes down longer and they have more complications, issues, or death. So it's just like there's tons of examples as a woman, clearly people of color, any kind of, like, if you think of racial stereotypes, then there's medical stereotypes that get and prejudice that get passed down. But I as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, we were being silly or whatever, but there's so many countless examples that doctors are like, we know what's best for you.
I feel like doctors, I mean, they do it to overweight people too. They sort of shame them. They put them on the scale, and then any issues they might have are kind of like just boiled down to you need to lose weight, and it's their fault.
My
Um,
sister talks about that all the time. And there's crap, what's the show? The woman that wrote Shrill. I even know her. She's very
mm,
sweet. Yeah, they had an episode on that, but I showed it to my sister and she's like, that's absolutely what happens. Any kind of chronic problem you have, any kind of problem, it's you need to lose weight. They don't investigate it. They don't take more into anything else into account.
yeah, I wonder how much of it is a doctor's like how lazy are they? Are they just being like, well, I could go into this, but they should probably just lose weight. Then we'll see.
I
It's like
don't
when I bartended and I didn't know a drink when someone ordered like, and I would never heard of it. My first instinct was to shame them, just be like, nobody drinks that anymore. Seriously?
yeah, you want this thing that I know how to make instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Um,
I don't want to completely say it's lazy. I do think there are lazy doctors and people that just kind of get into the rigmarole, like they just kind of get into the pattern of it all. Um, but I think it's overworked. Depending on where you're seeing the doctor, emergency room to even a private practice, like if they're overbooked and overworked, you're gonna give 10 minutes. When you have 10 minutes with the doctor, you're like, hey, how are you gonna find anything out? You're not getting to know anything about me. You're looking at a chart for 5 minutes. Half the time they don't make eye contact. It's when like that's why like when you hear somebody really likes their doctor, you're like, oh, I want to go to the doctor. And then you go to try to go to the doctor and they're not taking new clients because they're the only good doctor. Like it's just kind of upsetting because like you know when you've met a good doctor and you know when you've met somebody that's treating you literally like a file. Like you're just some
yeah.
words on a piece of paper.
They say those doctors, like people are more likely to sue a doctor who treats people like they're just a file or a number. And then like the doctors who actually like see the human behind the patient and take time to make a connection and be caring. Even if they fuck up, people are less likely to sue those doctors because they like them. They're less likely to sue doctors they like.
Of course. Also, like I'm not and I know how hard that job is. I know how overworked it is. I know how much time and energy that was put to be at that specialist at that place where you are either a specialist or but it's like there is a part of you as somebody that saw so many doctors when I was really sick in my 20s, just the dismissiveness of like this is how I feel, this is what's going on, and them telling me that's not true is just like, hey man, I get that I'm not a doctor, but I do know my body. I do know that this isn't how it functioned. I do know that things have changed. And to not be heard is like a level of infuriating that like
Mm.
you just feel so powerless. So it's like, how do you not feel angry? I'm more likely to say, don't go. Like I have an old joke from, I think my second album about seeing a dermatologist and him recommending Accutane for what was really not that bad acne. Like truly was just hormonal acne. And I just wanted some help with it. And he recommended Accutane. And I had already told him that like I had stomach issues. I probably had IBS, like all this stuff. And I was like, what is wrong? Like I yelled at him. And I left his office. I was like, are you insane? Like, as someone that's like only kind of vaguely educated, even I know someone that has health problems, you shouldn't put them on Accutane. Like,
I've seen you interact with so many different types of people, audience members, doctors, policemen. Everybody in your world is some version of a little sibling to you.
that's not valid. Like, that's just, I mean, I do see myself as an older sister, no matter if like I think of my friends that are significantly older than them, and I'm like still their older sister.
Yeah. You very much treat everyone like their family, which is why they love you, but like their younger sibling, which is why you feel free to berate them. So when a doctor's telling you, like, suggesting Accutane, and you go, are you fucking dumb? Like, you're dumb. I'm not doing that.
Did I ever tell you, like, I was in Japan, so this is with my ex-boyfriend and his family. So it's my ex-boyfriend, his siblings, and then his like step siblings. And and we had gotten along. It was super fun. And it was like we were in a grocery store and I had eggs in my basket, and I was shopping with one of his step siblings, and like we had the same taste and everything. And he threw something in my cart, and it landed on the eggs, and I was like, "You idiot!" And I yelled at him like I would yell at Sam. And then immediately occurred to me that he wasn't my sibling, and then I had to be like, "I'm sorry, that was inappropriate." And he's like, "No, it's okay. I get called an idiot all the time." He's a doctor, by the way. He's a doctor in Australia, and I was like, "You fucking idiot." And he was like so apologetic, but then I was like, no, I should only talk to my family like that. And he was like, "No, it was endearing." And I always get called an idiot. I was like, "No, everything about this is wrong."
I know. I want to just pop into that scene and be like, it is not endearing. Don't encourage her.
But it was so funny because he was the youngest sibling in his family. So of course, even though he's the doctor, he's called an idiot all the time. And that's how I talk to my siblings with love. With love.
Sure. It always is.
But it was this moment where I got too comfortable, and I was like, "Oh, that's not okay. That's not okay, Liz."
But you do with audience members too. It's fun to watch. It's fun to just like, you're just like, hold up. Let me tell you something. Doesn't matter who they are.
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah. Could be the president.
President Biden.
President Biden.
I just have to tell you some things. Also, you're
Here's why you're wrong.
Your dog wrong. You shouldn't be biting people. Well, very valid point.
No, go get me some chocolate. Thank you.
Yeah, please. I want to talk to Kamala. We have things to discuss. Thank you, Jason, for commenting. And yeah, we new things, more stuff. Googles. I was like, what do we do next? Googles.
Yes.
What'd you Google this week, Maria?
I'm trying to figure out what the point is of electrolytes. Like, why is that better than water for hydration? Like, I've been doing hot yoga, and they always say to like drink coconut water because of the electrolytes, like after hot yoga. And like, I'll drink water, and then I drink coconut water. I don't know. I don't ever feel fully hydrated ever. Do you ever feel like I'm hydrated? Like, I always feel like I need water.
Yeah. When I'm not thirsty. Isn't that me being hydrated?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
But
I'm always sort of thirsty.
For me, if I want a beverage, it's because I want something. I want to hold something or drink something, but it's not about hydration. And then there's moments where I'm like, I need water now.
Yeah.
Like I crave water. But like most of the time, I'm just having like a beverage to have a beverage because I like beverages. So
I was trying to figure out like, why can't you just drink water? Like, why isn't that hydrating enough? And it usually is, but like if you work out for longer than 45 minutes and it's high intensity, you're supposed to have electrolytes to replace like electrolyte drinks, like to replace the electrolytes, but not sports drinks, right? Like, so sports drinks that have all the sugar, like Gatorade, those are worse than soda, and you're not supposed to have that. But something like coconut water has electrolytes, or I guess smart water probably has electrolytes too.
Yeah, some of them.
The stuff you're supposed to drink when you have diarrhea.
Oh, like Pedialyte.
Yeah. Electrolytes, there are minerals like potassium, sodium, and magnesium have an electric charge and help maintain your body's ionic balance. You lose electrolytes when you sweat, and sports drinks claim to help replace what's lost during exercise. Have you ever heard that you're supposed to drink chocolate milk after a really intense workout?
Oh yeah, it was like one of my favorite. Are you kidding me? Like there were
your face lit the fuck up. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was like when I started running marathons, there were all these, like I was reading Runner's World and stuff, and they were like, why chocolate milk is da-da-da. But it's like a certain type of chocolate, and like it's like, I'm just getting like Hershey's chocolate syrup and milk or whatever. But there is something about it that's supposed to be, I did it for a little while and it was awesome because chocolate milk is awesome. Although like, I will be honest, like after you've run like 15 miles in the heat, like milk isn't.
It's not your first choice, is it? No. Yeah, milk is good for hydration, except that like it stays in your body longer, so it can be bad for other things. So like
your tum.
And you can't drink like chocolate oat milk because it doesn't have the calcium and the minerals and stuff. I think that regular milk, I think. Also, I didn't realize this, but like people who have high levels of sodium would benefit from rehydrating with sports drinks. But this is probably Gatorade.com. But it says you may notice sweat stains or rings on your skin or clothing. I didn't realize that, but like my first boyfriend, second boyfriend in high school, always had like yellow stains on his t-shirts, and maybe he just ate too much salt. Didn't know that.
Interesting.
When to stick to water. Most of the time, good old water will do the trick. I hate websites with personalities. If your main goal, it's like OLE, and then
Ugh.
the not exclamation point. What's this thing? The comma, but above. Good old. Oh, Jesus Christ! This is why you need water after you work out.
Apostrophe?
Yeah, I think so. But ol, because it's supposed to be old, so it's either OLE or it's OL apostrophe. That's never mind. If your main goal is body composition related, you're better off sticking with water and avoiding sugars. So you're looking to hydrate before exercising, during a low intensity workout or workout that doesn't last longer than 45 minutes. You're thirsty throughout the day. Other hydration methods, tea, juice, coconut water, and milk also provide plenty of water, as do many fruits and vegetables. Milk is a great hydrator, earning a slightly higher rehydration score than plain water. Just another reason to enjoy an ice cold glass of chocolate milk after a tough workout.
Well, also there was something about the chocolate that was helpful because, like, why wouldn't you just have a glass of milk? I forget. There's something about
the sugars and the carbs. I think it's for the carbs.
Oh, cool.
Conclusion. I love that this little like high school essay got a conclusion. If you're tired of plain H2O, I can't even say water. It's so boring. Coconut water, milk, fruits, and vegetables are all delicious choices. Happy hydrating. Yeah, I was just like, why the coconut milk or coconut water?
Coconut water. Yeah, I mean, I've always known just because of like runneriness that electrolytes are helpful. I mean, they always talk about it in Gatorade. They talk about it in coconut water. They've always talked about it, and even just like the smart water that has it. So it's something I always like just naturally go for. But yeah, you're right. I don't exactly know why. People just tell you to do stuff and you do it.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, electrolytes. I never thought about it before, but I was like, what is that even?
Yeah.
Still don't really know, but yeah.
Okay. To be continued.
Probably not. It's probably all I'm ever going to research about it.
I think you should research why you never fully feel hydrated. That's weird.
Oh, is that a problem?
Yeah, you should feel hydrated.
I drink a lot of coffee, so I just assume it's that.
And that is dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
What is in your cup? Do you have like mint in there?
I do.
You nerd.
Nerd. I bought a pot
Only
of
you
mint.
would have like a spa-like situation in your apartment.
Why not? Why not have a candle in the bathroom and some fucking mint in your water? Why not just make the little moments in your day fucking better?
There's one blueberry in there just to give it like a little bit of a pop. It's just
Yeah. Hotels got crazy with their, because when I worked at a hotel in Beverly Hills, you go to other hotels, people were trying to like do up the water so much. There was like bell pepper in our water at one point. Like,
I remember checking into a hotel and they had 3 different waters. One had lemon, one had like apples or something, and the other one was plain. And I was like, who complains that your water was too watery? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who, like, I just was like, I don't, just access to water is good enough. Like, I don't need I don't need
definitely.
somebody in the back office cutting up lemons. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need that. Okay. You ready for my Google?
Mm-hmm.
This was like so short-lived. I thought it was going to be like this intense problem, but basically I had a bump like on the inside of my lip that I just felt. I was driving a lot this week and I felt it and I was like, what the fuck? And it was like, I couldn't, you know, when you have like you find a bump and you couldn't, and it's not, I used to get canker sores. It's before I like changed my diet, my dad would get them and I would get them all the time. It wasn't a canker sore. It was literally like a little bump inside my lip and I could feel it and I couldn't stop playing with it. It didn't hurt.
Was it a sympathy bump because of the bump on my eye?
Oh, look at us with our bumps. No, it was just so, and it was like clearly very tiny. It didn't hurt, but I was like, is this going to be here forever? Why is this here? And then because I had been driving all day when I discovered it, I went into the bathroom, I pulled my lip down and it was clear. It was like clear. It was so weird. It was like this clear bump. And like, I tried popping it because that's always what you do. I just treat everything like a pimple. It was like, no, thank you. I don't like that. And then I was like, what am I doing? I should research before I start fucking with my inner lip, whatever. Okay. So it is a mucose cyst, also known as a mucoli. I don't know. MUCOCELE is a fluid-filled swelling that occurs on the lip or in the mouth. Cysts develop when your mouth's salivary glands become plugged with
Salivary.
mucus. Salivary, thank you. Salivary glands become plugged with mucus. Most cysts are the lower lip, but can occur anywhere in the mouth, usually painless and temporary, and will resolve on its own in 1 to 2 weeks. It resolved in like a day. It was almost like I looked at it and then the next morning it was gone. But I just found it so weird. It like popped out of nowhere and then it went out away. I've never seen anything like that. And then it went away. And then I was like, why do I have so much mucus in my mouth?
Stop. How big was this thing?
Tiny. Think like a tiny pimple.
Oh,
But I
okay.
felt it. Like I was doing
Okay.
this while driving. Like, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
yeah.
Okay. And it just, you popped it, it went away.
I didn't pop it. I tried to.
Oh.
Yeah, I tried to. And then I was like, as I was doing it, I was like, this doesn't seem like a good idea. And then I did research and then I went to bed and I woke up the next day and it was gone. Like completely
Oh,
gone.
that's always the best. Oh, the freebies when you're like, oh no, this is going to be something I have to deal with. And then it just goes away on its own.
I just thought it was going to bother me for weeks, the way like a canker sore is like, canker sores are like really painful. But it wasn't like that at all. It was just annoying and I noticed it and I felt like I was never going to non-notice it. And then it went away.
Great.
Yeah, I'm happy about it. But I was just like, when I saw, it sounds so weird. When I saw it, I was like, what is that? Like, it was just so weird.
Yeah.
Like
But did it say what causes
it
the
just
mucus
says
bubble?
it just says a lot of mucus. It just says it gets plugged up with mucus. And I'm just like, isn't that what your mouth is? Like, why is it more mucusy than normal?
Yeah, that doesn't.
It didn't make sense to me.
Mucus. Maybe is it mucus? Is it allergy
mucus.
season? Yeah. I was like, what's involved with mucus allergies?
Oh, that's a good point. I did do yoga in the park for my friend's birthday.
You're just gonna keep saying mucus.
I know you did. You said it like 6 times in a row.
Stop saying mucus.
It was very uncomfortable. I was like, you're making this an unpleasurable experience for our listeners.
Mucus.
Like a child that learned a new word. Yeah, I did not that I have like really bad allergies, but we did do yoga in the park under a tree and I did have like a sneezing fit during and walking home. So maybe that extra pollen that I had on Sunday might have built up.
That might have been the mucus.
That was where I got my mucus.
That's what caused my bubble. Bubbles on our faces.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
first
spin-off.
book we write together.
What is
this bubble?
What is this? The bubbles you find with Maria and Liz.
Stuck in our own. Yeah.
You really want to go on full tight. We're just gonna write 4 books.
We could easily.
Yeah, it maybe not the most interesting Google, but it was kind of like, what is this? Oh, it's gone.
Yeah. I mean,
also what I've learned, I think almost all my Googles are cysts that don't matter. Remember I had that one about my ear? It was like an ear cyst and it goes away. Like cysts are these things where like your body is just like, hey, we're just going to build this up for a bit and then we're going to go away. But like, of course, every time something new shows up on your body, you're like, what is that? Why are you here?
Sure.
I don't know you. What's your name?
I had a weird bump on my foot when I was like 10 and it just went away. But it was like a weird hard deposit on where was it? It was like below the ankle, right where the foot began, on the top of the foot, and just this hard ball of I remember the doctor saying it was like a calcium deposit. It just went away.
It's so weird.
Ugh. It happened to me, and I'm still like, oh.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
want
so
extra,
squirmy. I don't want
extra bumps. Okay, let's get personal.
Yeah.
Are you always popping in and out of the screen?
Mucus.
Oh, mucus. Okay. I'll wait until you come back. Hi. Okay, let's get personal. It's like a 3-parter. What's the nickname that people call you? The nickname you wish you had, and what do you hate to be called?
When I was little, it was pizza. Because of Maria Pizzeria. So I used to call me pizza.
I would have. Kids are so weird. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was my mom. No, I'm kidding.
Well played.
And each of, for some reason, like nicknames have nothing to do with your actual name. I don't know.
And is
Pizza,
this like
Ria.
Ria?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Maria. That really took a while.
I forgot my name again.
I was like, Ria. Oh, sorry.
I never really have. No one ever gives me a nickname. I want a nickname.
I call you Shahada.
That's not a nickname. That's my last name.
That's not considered a nickname?
I don't like it. Give me a better one.
I
Your
mean, I call you
face.
Muffin.
Yes, Muffin I love. But you
Yeah,
call everyone Muffin. It hurts every time.
no, I call people I love Muffin. Not everybody. You're in a select.
I've seen you call like other comedians Muffin. Muffin, get the tape.
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Maybe if I'm being endearing, but it's mostly Muffins reserved for people I love. Cupcake, anybody could be a cupcake. Muffins,
Okay.
people I love. Yeah, I probably for you, Shahada, like you're in my phone as Shahada, and then I don't think I ever use your name. Whether it's good news or bad news, it's Muffin. I'm like, Muffin, things are bad. Or I'm just like, Muffin, my book is coming out. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Or if you're being sweet and like comforting, like Muffin, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yeah, that's probably for you. But yeah, everything in my phone is Shahada. And I
Yeah.
don't know why I do
Well,
that. I guess because I know other
it's a great
Marias.
last name.
It's
It's a great last name.
I don't know if I told you this. I have an ongoing list of cat names, and Shahada is one of them because it's just such a good
No.
name. Yeah, it's on my list.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great name. So I might
I
have a
would
cat
love it
named
if you named your cat Shahada.
and then I'll be like, she shit on the carpet.
See, like that, my brother isn't having any kids, and I'm not having any kids. And who said we weren't going to carry on the family name?
Exactly.
You
That's what they
have
did with
to.
Beyonce. Well, also, I told my grandfather who died when my mom was 10, his name was Casimiro, and she was like, "Oh, everybody called his nickname was Casey," and I was like, "No, it's Kaz. The nickname is Kaz. You have a name like Casimiro? It's Kaz." I was like so mad, and then I was like, "Mom, I'm probably never having kids. Can I name a cat Casimiro? Is that insulting? Like, I feel like it'd be nice." And she's like, "No, you can name a cat Casimiro." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's so honorable." Like, I mean, it'd have to be a great cat to be a Shahada or a Casimiro, but yeah, that I have a list of like a bunch of cat names, and your name is on it. It's one of the best
That's
names in the business.
wow. Thank
Wow.
you. Wow.
I'm going to tell my parents. I am
I'm
honored.
honored.
Okay, so if you could pick your nickname, what are some nicknames you would want?
Oh, damn it. I'm really bad at picking my own nicknames. I want something cute. Or do I want to be like lightning bolt? You know what I mean?
I was like razor blade.
Yeah. Oh, don't mess with everything I came up with
Nunchucks
was a
Maria.
bad. Yeah, I know. Everything I came up with was horrible. Yeah, don't mess with karate chop, shahada chop.
You've been
Shahada
shahada.
chop.
I always liked boy names. So I always liked like my friend Joanna goes by Joe. And then I liked people
Oh, I
that
always
like
wanted to be
Frankie.
Charlie.
Yeah. Like I always wanted to be like a Frankie. I think Frankie's such
Frankie's
a
great. That was my car name.
Oh yeah. No, I always liked a Frankie for like a girl.
My car was a girl.
And then what do you hate to be called?
Short. What do I hate to be called? I don't think you can really fuck up any of my names to the point where I'm like, don't call me that. Maria Diarrhea. No one's ever called me that, but I imagine I'd hate it.
Also, your mom is just like, we're in diarrhea.
Yeah.
Get in here, clean your room.
Fuck's sake.
You're supposed to be my friend.
What about you?
Okay, so my nicknames, I mean, you know, clearly my full name is Elizabeth. The nickname I've chosen is Liz, right? But like family and friends call me Lizzy. I get really angry if you're not my friend and you call me Lizzy. I do not like it.
I don't call you Lizzy. Should I call you Lizzy?
It's not necessary. Like to me, it's like my siblings. It started out just my siblings. Like my parents don't call me Lizzy. It's like a term of endearment. It's usually like my siblings want something. They're like, Lizzy, can you drive me to the airport? And I'm like,
oh yeah,
sorry. So like, yeah, I would say Lizzy is like, and it's kind of spread. Like I had like exes call me Lizzy. Like it's just I really hate it, especially when people I don't like because it's so associated with like close family and friends. When it's somebody I don't like, it really bothers me. I don't like fans calling me Lizzy. Like that really bothers me. It's just like
no.
it sounds like a very weird thing to be like, it's my secret family name, but like,
Well, that makes sense. Like, okay, I forgot I had a couple more. Like my cousins when they were little, before they can pronounce my name, called me Maya, which I liked. And then I have an aunt who called me Marmar
oh,
and
Marmar is
Pumpkin.
cute. I like
Marmar is
Marmar.
cute. But like if any dude called me Marmar, I'd be like, don't fucking call me
I'll
Marmar.
fucking
But
kill you.
yeah, if someone I love and is, close family, Marmar is cute.
I remember, so Alonzo Bowden, you've met him a bunch of times. I'm always weirded out when people have like kind of they always use their first name as it is. Like if I wanted people to call me Elizabeth, like I'm just like, who hurt you? Like why?
Yeah.
And I forget it was a couple years ago. Something was out and it said Zoe, and I was like, can I call you Zoe? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I can. He's like, yeah. And so I'm like, Zoe. Like I felt like privileged. I was like, I get to call you, and who knows? He could probably let anybody call him Zoe, but I was like, I like that. I feel like nicknames have a privilege, and I really like them. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it opens up a door of friendship when you get to call somebody their nickname.
It's sad when they don't let you. Like
Yeah, it gets
my
all
friend
Disney.
Fiona, like she's fine with Fee, but you can't call her Fifi. But there's something about like repetitive names like Marmar, Fifi that is so adorable and endearing. She's like, do not call me Fifi. I'm like, somebody you hate call you Fifi in your life, or like I think Fifi's great.
Yeah.
But the instinct to call her Fifi, I had to stop myself or apologize. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you Fifi. But it's
Yeah.
just like to me,
It
like
just
that's
comes.
me saying I love you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Fifi.
it's endearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've called me Lizard. Like you're probably one of
Oh
the only
yeah, I called
people.
you Lizard.
Yeah, so
Then
you'll
you
call
named
me.
your company Lizard.
I did. So Lizard is, I would say you're the person that uses Lizard the most. Sometimes my siblings use Lizard. Sometimes boyfriends use Lizard. I'm fine with Lizard. I like lizards. Meals is actually probably the one I like the best, weirdly enough. I've always liked Meals. So you'll call me Meals sometimes. Comics will instinctually call me Meals. I have some old friends that call me Meals. I don't know what that is, but I really like Meals.
Do I call you Meals? I don't.
Occasionally.
Yeah, I can see
I,
Meals is like. I feel like Meals is like more respectful than anything else. Like if you're a comedian, if you're an acquaintance, a comedian acquaintance, Meals is appropriate. Shahada is. I get called Shahada by a lot of comedians because that's fine.
it's fun.
You
It
know,
is
they're not
fun.
going to call me Marmar.
Oh, and then my name that I hate, like I hate Beth,
Oh yeah,
Elizabeth. I hate it.
you're not a Beth.
No, I really don't like it. It really just like blah, 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 blah. And I don't like Eliza either, but for some reason, most people don't think Eliza is a nickname. Beth, it's either Liz or Beth. And it's like, bleh, I hate Beth.
Yeah,
But,
that's not for you. Nothing
so
wrong with a Beth, but not for
nothing
you.
wrong with the Beth, but it just, I don't know. And I know some Beths, but for me, it just feels I don't feel loved. Okay, topic.
Yes.
Topic is Tourette's, and I picked Tourette's. I've actually wanted to do something on Tourette's for a while because my roommate has Tourette's, my roommate John, and I didn't even know for the first like 2 years that we lived together. He like told me, and I was like, "Oh, you're doing great, great job, John." And then I did very soon after he told me, I did a show at Gotham. It was like a charity show for like Tourette's research, and it was done by Chelsea White, and she has Tourette's. Again, didn't know. And then there's another comic, Justin Silver. Do you remember Justin?
Yeah.
Justin had a joke about having Tourette's. I think he's kind of grown out of it, and that's really what I've kind of learned from doing research is that um, men or just boys and men in general are 3 to 4 times more likely to have Tourette's. And then also, for the most part, it starts when they're younger. From like 2 to 15 is when it starts to show, and then they kind of sometimes, or for the most part, age out of it, or they get less symptoms as after their teenage years. So, like my roommate John, I didn't know he had Tourette's. I had no idea, but once he told me, I guess I started to notice he has like kind of breathing tics or like sound tics. Like that's probably what it is, and it's pretty mild, I think, for the most part. I don't want to say what his experience is, but as a person that lives with him and is always near him, I sometimes notice it, but for the most part, I don't. And then
I
he's
think there
also
was somebody with like I think they're called phonic tics, but I don't know. But I think there was somebody. I went to watch a movie. It was Jesus? No, it was something in the Black Messiah. It was about the Black Panthers. Such a good movie. Anyway, there was somebody in the front row, and I think they had like a phonic Tourette tic, or because like I kept hearing and like with my misophonia, I was in hell. So I had to like tell myself it was construction outside so that I could get
focus.
around. I know that I knew they couldn't help it. Like it wasn't like I
Yeah.
was angry at them, but I still like it was still triggering me.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I love these
So
two
that was,
disorders are just having a fight in this.
yes, exactly. Like misophonia and Tourette's just head to head.
Yeah. You know when they say like
uh,
opposite attracts? Like, could you imagine you had a boyfriend with Tourette's and you're like, why am I doing this to myself?
yeah, that was a difficult couple hours, but because I was enjoying the movie, but I was just like, it's just construction, it's construction, it's construction, it's construction. Like I just had to like
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay, so let me just define Tourette's just in case you don't know. It's Tourette syndrome is a disorder that involves repetitive movements or unwanted sounds, which they call tics, that can't be easily controlled. For instance, you might repeatedly blink your eyes, shrug your shoulders, or blurt out unusual sounds or offensive words. And what's interesting about the sounds or offensive words, the offensive words, which is the cliche of what people think Tourette's is, it's extremely rare and it has its own name. Hold on. That type of Tourette's.
oh wait, when you're blurting out bad words,
Yeah,
it's like starts with a C.
you're right. Coprolalia.
There's
CO.
two. There's like bad words and bad sounds,
Well, the bad words I think is I like that we call them bad words.
or
They
bad
call
gestures or something.
online they call them obscene words, and I was like, obscene is such a medical way of being like fuck yourself. Like it's just so it's cute to me. I love the internet. Sometimes.
Curse words. We curse
Cuss.
you.
We cuss. They're cussing.
Oh, cuss. Yeah. Is it? Did you say cuss or curse? We said cuss growing up.
My dad would say cuss words, but like my mom and I would say curse. Like cuss is like
Like how
cuss is so
judgmental.
cuss is like we don't cuss here, and you're like I don't even know what cussing is. Like oh cursing. Oh, okay, so it's corpolalia. I don't know how to say Coprolalia, but they basically say it's extremely rare, can occur as a result of other neurological disorders or after brain injuries, and then of course anxiety of having it and trying to repress it can make it worse. But what I find so interesting is that like, and this is how it always is, just like OCD, it's the excessive hand washing that everybody knows, and that's how they decide, that's how the broader spectrum of the world understands OCD. So then Tourette's, it's like this uncontrollable cursing, and that's how people see Tourette's, when really it's super rare. It's not technically what it is. And just like we talked about all disorders, it's the spectrum. So I would think that my roommate John, I don't know much, I probably didn't ask him, but I don't know how bad it was when he was a teenager, but as an adult, like he has it where it gets worse, and like we can talk about it later, but like he started smoking very little, but he would smoke a cigarette a day because the nicotine actually really helped with his Tourette's. And he didn't like it because he doesn't like smoking, and he is a very healthy guy. So then he switched to going sugar free, and that really helped with his Tourette's. So
Really?
I've seen him in the last, I would say 8 months. He had ice cream. He celebrated and had ice cream with me once, but he almost never eats any kind of extra sugar.
I want some ice cream now. But yeah, that's. I wonder why. Like, I wonder what's.
Yeah, the
Did you
same
do
way
any?
that they talk about just sugar and carbohydrates in general for like helping with autism, helping with other kind of neurological stuff. It's our diet really does affect it. I don't know exactly how, but that's what he's noticed both. And it's weird that it's on a different spectrum where nicotine has helped him and going off sugar has helped him. And you're like, how are those both?
What was his explanation for the nicotine? Did he say?
Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Whatever it does for you that like people kind of get like a high off it or whatever, I think that same thing kind of helps with the Tourette's. Whatever nicotine is doing that makes people calm, I think it's also calming the Tourette's. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm giving you very
Somebody, because I listened to a little bit of a Tourette's podcast, and so they had an episode about tattoos, and somebody wrote in going, how could someone with a tic get tattoos? And the host was like, well, in my experience, because the tattoo itself is so, I don't think he used the word traumatic, but like because it's so intense of a feeling and a situation and experience, like he was able to focus all of his attention on that, and it took it away from the tic. But
yeah, well, we've talked about that with adrenaline in general. You'll be sick and you go on stage and you're not like sick and like uncomfortable while you're on stage, but as soon as you go off stage, you get sick again, or the symptoms come back. And then also when I interviewed that boxer, when I did the OCD episode for the Jed Foundation, she has extreme cleanliness OCD, like is one of those people that's constantly brushing her teeth and washing her hands or whatever. But then she'll do boxing where blood is getting on her and stuff like that. But it's such an adrenaline rush, and she's so focused on this thing that it doesn't affect her at all. So there is some weird, I don't fully understand that either. But I think with nicotine specifically, I think whatever the reason you're drawn towards nicotine is somebody that smokes initially, that like helps with anxiety, blah, blah, blah. I think it must be doing something for the Tourette's as well. Oh, just so like people are clear. So like a tic is like, it's a sudden, brief, intermittent movements or sounds. They can range from mild to severe. Severe ones can clearly hinder their communication and quality of life. Simple tics are sudden, brief, repetitive tics that involve a limited number of muscle groups. And it's interesting because I never knew this, like sufferers can kind of compare it to the building up of a sneeze. So like they'll feel a
I
tick the
read
same
that.
way that you'll feel a sneeze, and then an electrical surge inside their body, a desire to itch or a need to blink. If they try to hold it back, it actually comes out way worse. As soon as they compared it to a sneeze, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, not that I get it, but like that makes it so much more when it's this like, well, how do you not control it? It's like, well, how do you control a sneeze?
Oh man, my sneezes get brutal. It's just like I try to hold it in and just people are like, Jesus Christ.
So before we get into like a full discussion, I just wanted to kind of go down some simple tics and simple vocal tics, and then the complex ones. Simple tics are like eye blinking, head jerking, shoulder shrugging, eye darting, nose twitching, mouth, and like just like mouth movements. And then simple vocal tics would be like grunting, coughing, throat clearing, or barking. Then complex tics are like the touching and smelling of objects, repeated observed movements, stepping in a certain pattern, obscene gestures, bending or twisting, hopping. Complex vocal tics are repeating one's own words or phrases, repeating other words and phrases, using vulgar, obscene, or swear words. So it's just the difference between like a shoulder shrugging being a tic to like you have to do this certain and like that's why they kind of talk about how there's other, and it always seems like all these things intersect with other things. So that's why like this condition can also be associated with OCD, ADHD, autism, learning disabilities, sleep disorders, depression, anxiety disorders, and then pain related tics, especially headaches, and then anger management problems. So I think it's always like Tourette's plus anger management is something that might happen where you get the cobra I don't know how to say that word. But like the same thing between we're doing repeated patterns might be a mix of Tourette's plus OCD. So it seems like, yeah.
I was just that just started to make sense to me because I knew that like I read that what most people think of when they think of Tourette, and by the way, I've been calling it Tourette's, but it's Tourette syndrome,
Yeah, I think you're
and
right.
that blew my mind. But then like finding out like it wasn't all just like people blurting out swear words, but when you said when it's in conjunction with other neurological problems, so anger management and Tourette's, that's when you get the swear. It all clicked for me, so that's why my face went, oh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you see the same thing we've talked about a lot of different disorders where it always seems like an intersection of a couple of different things um makes the issue. I think what kind of bothers me about this is like everything, all the research I've done, they just don't know why it comes about. Basically, it's extremely genetic, inherited, the same way that like almost my dad was dyslexic and we were all dyslexic. It really is like multiple siblings will have it, as well as generationally people will have Tourette syndrome. So
Yep, there was also a theory that it could be due to a bacteria.
really,
Yeah, but it wasn't a proven theory. It's just the bacteria causing Lyme disease and herpes simplex virus are believed to play a role in the pathogenesis of tic disorders such as Tourette's. Oh, this says Tourette's syndrome, not just Tourette syndrome, so I don't know. Additionally, the enterovirus EV has been associated with a greater incidence of tic disorders.
interesting. Also, they seem to make it seem like it really does lessen as you get older, and then I wonder why someone would continue to have it into adulthood. Like,
do you think it's those kind of theories? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure why it like lessens as you get older. Maybe no, I don't know.
yeah, like I don't know if it's like a coping mechanism, like it happens and then it becomes it's a childhood coping mechanism, and then as you get older you don't need it anymore, or is it because it's so associated? Because like my roommate will say like when he's stressed it gets worse, you know what I mean? And that's what they basically said, like, so it varies in type, frequency, and severity. It worsens if you're ill, stressed, anxious, tired, or excited. Can occur during your sleep, which is crazy. uh, um it can change over time, and then it worsens. It's worsened in the early teenage years and improved during transition into adulthood. So I just never really understand. Like, it's weird to like
Maybe it's
sort of,
hormonal.
oh, that's kind of interesting. I mean, they do get it kind of young. So, but like, I guess there is so much growing, because they say from 2 to 15 is like where it starts to develop. But there is so much changing of your body and your mind. And
But it's the same with misophonia. You know, I got it really, really early on, like 3, 4, 5, I don't know. But if I'm tired or stressed or hormonal, and I think it was worse in my teens, it's much
yeah,
worse. Like when I'm
yeah,
tired and my misophonia is triggered, it's like I can't deal. Like,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, so basically either environmental factors or inherited genetically. Okay, so treatments, there's behavioral therapy, which, I would assume is just a way to control it a little better, or the awareness of it, because everything says the trying to suppress it has made it worse. So it feels like this accepting of it must be something that kind of helps you move through it. There's some medicines, but they all talk about the side effects of it. Treatment to quell the corba, I don't know how to say that word, the cursing one, is this injection of botulinum toxin in your vocal cords,
it's
which will,
Botox.
is that what it is?
It sounds like Botox, but
B-O-T,
botulinum
oh, is that what it is? Botulinum toxin?
Botox.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's Botox. Okay. So they would shoot Botox into your vocal cords, which will not stop the outburst, but will reduce the volume, which is just
that's weird.
kind of, yeah, it made me sad. um and then of course they're starting to talk about how marijuana can be helpful, which I could just see that just as something that's being relaxing. You're not focusing it on much. And then, like I said earlier, my roommate has done research and had noticed nicotine, small amounts of nicotine had helped
We are
him.
not suggesting you start smoking.
No, not at all. And even my roommate was like, I didn't enjoy it and it wasn't helpful. And then that's where he went down. That's where he started limiting his sugar, and he thinks that helped. So, I mean, he's 30 and we've lived together for 6 years. And like, as an outside person, I only notice it sometimes like when we're walking, and it feels like kind of like weird breathing sometimes. But like, I think of like Justin Silver talked about like blinking, like it was like blinking and like doing little movements. Like his was more like a movement one. And I would say that my
I
roommate
always
John
thought the
is
blinking was a New York thing.
what?
The blinking, I always thought was a New York thing. A lot of New Yorkers blink a lot, like that, like kind of like fast paced, gum chewing, blinking personality. I thought it was a New York thing.
I can't wait for you to write a New York character, and they're just like, what is happening to these people? That I don't think I noticed that, but am I a big blinker? Do I blink a lot?
No, I blink a lot though. I've noticed that just editing this podcast. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like,
Do you wear contacts?
no.
Oh, I've always been insecure because I wear contacts, and contacts just dry out your eyes a little bit more. So that's like a thing.
Yeah, that would make sense. I just blink a lot. I had a babysitter who was like, when I was little, she was like yelling at me about something, and she was like, "And stop blinking!" And I was like, "Well, like I was just trying to hold my eyes open." Like as a child, that's traumatic.
I was gonna say I've just learned that your contacts really make you lose a lot of staring contests. Like I'll try to do them with my niece and nephew. And I'm like, it's unfair. I need to put on my glasses. Um,
um,
okay, well, if anybody has Tourette syndrome or has some extra knowledge, I mean, I'm very curious about why it comes about, if it's more than just genetics, and then why it seems to dissolve a little bit or become more controllable as you get older. But I would love to hear anybody's experiences with it, if there was a certain treatment that was really helpful. But I don't know, just because I've had so many people in my life that have had it, and I'm just curious about it. So you can write to us at 2non-doctors, that's 2non4doctors at gmail.com. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.